Okay.
All right, everybody. My name's Roundabout. Thank you for being here tonight. We've got some interesting things on the agenda, but we will go ahead and start with Vern Keeslar, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the 200 North, 200 East.
Do we want to go to?
Yeah, let me go.
Okay, so 200 East and 200 North, we have what is called a roundabout. But it's, okay, we're seeing the speed still go through there where vehicles are not slowing down. And
So they exist now.
yeah, it exists now. There's actually a little thing in the middle and it's a small roundabout. So it's too many. And so what we want to do is do a little bit of an experiment for the next few months. And I want to widen that circle out about 3 to 6 feet wide. If I widen it out 6 feet wide, that still allows for 15-foot travel lanes, which is still pretty good. Now, if we have delivery trucks or anything, they might find it a little tight, but they can go over this temporary traffic devices. So it's just something I felt like, hey, let's visit with the neighborhood. Let's see what kind of feedback we get before I actually put it in. And then let's test it for 6 months. Let's see if snowfall is like, let's test it for a few months and let's come back and get some more feedback. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Does anybody have any strong opinions one way or the other on maybe experimenting with widening that roundabout out and slowing traffic down?
Why
6 feet still leaves me 15-foot travel
I
lane.
heard that.
Yeah,
Look how
I
tiny.
could go 3 feet, but I kind of need to go 6 feet to make a bigger difference. So it will expand. Tanner?
If you move the map a little bit up to the right, I have a family that lives in that apartment where it's still on 200 North. Or 200 North, yeah. We just go over a little bit. I have a family that lives in this apartment complex where you can see that apartment.
Possibly.
Yeah. And every time I've ever talked to them, they've always mentioned how dangerous this intersection still is, even with mini roundabouts. So I think that's a great idea.
Even with the ball outs in and then
The thing is, they don't slow down. They try to see how, and you can see the skid marks so close to the roundabout itself in the center. That, like, we have nothing to lose by throwing.
We actually had an actual experiment there a few weeks ago, in which somebody, I don't know what happened to the car, they left it on the east side there, going the wrong way, almost into the intersection. And let me tell you, vehicles do slow down when it's narrower than the current is. Sounds like a great idea to me. In your mind, what if any are the downsides?
well,
I assume you're a traffic engineer.
yeah, I will. Well, so yeah, I probably should have said that. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I work for Provo on the traffic.
What are the downsides?
I'm sorry.
What are the downsides of this experiment?
Downsides are trucks are not going to be able to maneuver it real well, but because the 4 to 5 inch rubber traffic control devices that I'm putting there, trucks can go over there. If you go over in the vehicle, you're certainly going to know you did that. But we want to try that and attempt it. The downside is snow removal with these temporary things. A snowplow might not see it if we get 4 or 5 inches of snow that covers it. So I might have to go out and do a little repair once in a while if the snowplow picks it up. But I'll work with those snowplow drivers and see if we can do that. So if it works and we feel good about it, then I kind of want to move to a design where we can make it. But let's give it 6 months. Let's see what we can. All good? Okay, thanks for your time. We'll go right now. Thanks, Art.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is we're gonna hear from Chief Schofield about the Wildland Urban Interface Program, how that impacts us.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to come tonight and talk to you about our wildland program. This is, well, you might not think that this involves your neighborhood too much. Some of the things do. I mean, it's not maybe necessarily the same risk that you would find up on the East Bench or in some of the other neighborhoods in the city, but there are still things that you got to worry about. So our wildland urban interface. So what is our wildland urban interface? Anywhere where we have undeveloped land that comes up against developed land, like your house. All right. And so our big push is to create what's called defensible space. And defensible space works so that it reduces the propensity for ignition of things in your house, like shrubs and trees and grasses that carries a fire from a undeveloped parcel into your home. And so that's what we're going to do. Why do we need it? Well, you'll learn about that tonight. And I'm going to tell you about our program. It begins. So our wildland urban interface is that transition zone between unoccupied land and human development. You can see here, these are pictures that all are taken around Provo, different parts of Provo. And if we had a fire going in some of those areas, then it'd march right up into those homes. And we would not be able to probably get there and stop it in time because of the amount of undergrowth that's created over the years, and the slope of the hill, things that just cause that fire to just run. Good again. So what we're trying to do is create this defensible space. That's a buffer around your house that protects your house from flying brands or embers or direct flame contact if you have a fire in an undeveloped part next to your home. Just kind of puts a fire break in there. And it serves two purposes. One is it protects your home, and the other one is it helps us fight the fire so it protects the home. Hit me again. All right, we're going to watch a short video.
Let's say a wildfire is burning nearby forest or shrub step and is now racing towards your community. You might be thinking, but as long as your house isn't on the edge of town, you don't have to worry much about it. The reality is everyone who lives in this community is at risk. And here's why. First, it's not the wall of flames from the wildfire that's most likely to threaten your home. It's the millions of embers that are carried on the wind that are your main concern. High winds can actually drive these burning embers up to 5 miles ahead of the flames. They can then land on your roof, in your leaf-filled gutters, sucked into attic venting, or ignite hedges, wood piles, or outbuildings near your home. Secondly, there's a whole lot of fuel for fire in a house, and when houses do catch on fire, they can send flames up to 70 feet or more in the air, making even more embers that spread fire throughout the community. In densely built neighborhoods, fire can quickly spread from house to house or leapfrog to other neighborhoods. How do you go about suppressing this kind of fire? So even if your neighbors have done everything they can to prepare and protect their home, what you do or don't do around your home and property directly impacts them, the rest of your neighborhood. We're all in this together, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. The only way to prepare for wildfires is to work together as a community and get everyone's property ready to go long before the fire starts. And once we're ready, we've got to stay ready.
Okay. So, in my personal lifetime, I was born and raised in a little small town in northern New Mexico. In fact, I'm going there next week. A little town called Los Alamos. And in 2001, there was a forest fire in the ponderosa pines around Los Alamos. And with the wind and the flying brands, they ended up burning 200 homes. They burned that wild. And so I went down and started working on with my parents on creating a defensible space. More recently, in just 2 years ago, on December 31st over in Colorado, they had a fire on New Year's Eve day that took 1,000 homes. And it was all as a result of these flying brands. So creating this defensible space and then hardening your house to prevent wildfire, even if you're down inside the city where you don't have a lot of interaction with wildland urban interface, you still have the potential for those flying brands to be a problem, to be problematic at your home. So what we want to do is we want to create a defensible space. And there's some information on the back table, along with Captain Atkinson's business card. Feel free to pick up her flyer and feel free to contact her. She's out of town today, so I'm filling in. We want 30 feet of clear space around your home where you break up your leaves or your pine needles. Where we don't want to stack your fireplace wood in over there. We just want it to be kind of a non-fuel rich environment for a 30-foot circle around. And then we want to go out a little bit further. So an additional 70 feet, so a total of 100 feet. We want to go out and again, we want to thin out our fuels. And we also want to limb up our trees. One of the things we want to try to avoid is as fires progress across the ground, if I can keep the fires out of the trees, then I have a better success rate at stopping the fire. If I get a fire it's up into the trees, you know, your spruces, your juniper, or your pine, those kinds of trees, they burn really, really well once you get up into branches. And then you get that problem called crowning fire that just bounces from tree to tree to tree and it sends off those flying brands. So what we want to do is limb up those trees. So cut the limbs off so there's about a 10-foot space between the ground and our lowest limbs. And that prevents or helps prevent the fire from, or the heat of the fire from igniting those limbs and getting to a crowning fire. Get me again. All right, so on the left-hand side, you can see somebody who's not done a lot of fuel mitigation work. This parcel right over here is fuel rich. And if we have a fire that goes into that, gets into there, it's got plenty of fuel. And again, because of the upslope, the fires burn upslope much faster than they burn on level ground or down. So if it gets up into that upslope, it takes it up pretty quickly. And so what you see on the right is somebody who's created a little bit more defensive space. We don't want you to take the ground to nothing, but we do want to thin the fuel out. So you've taken and created some defensible space by thinning out the appropriate and the lighter fuels. And so it gives us a better chance of being able to stop a fire if it gets into that one. Get big. All right. This is the Melody Lane fire in Reno, California. I want you to, as you're watching this, not really to scare you, it will scare you, but not intent to scare you, but I want you to look at the timeline up at the top. You'll see a clock. It's kind of running. Just kind of look at the time. Go ahead. All right, so what did you notice?
10 minutes to burn 1,000.
10 minutes it burned 4 houses. Okay, 4 houses. All right, now, in fairness, disclaimer, there's two things that come together to make this a much worse fire. Number one, it's upslope, so it's climbing up that hill pretty fast, which fires do. A couple of years ago, we had a fire and I was out smoking on my grill, and I actually saw the fire start. I live in Springville. It was up on the south, or the north edge of Springville, actually saw the fire start, called into dispatch. They already had other callers on the line, hung up the phone, they went in, opened the sliding glass door and called my wife and said, "You ever watch a fire run the mountain?" She goes, "No." And so, "Well, come on out, because it's gonna take 10 minutes before this thing flips out. Because it's upslope, it's on that western facing slope, so your fuels are already preheated. So number one, it's on that upslope. Number two, if you watch the column of smoke, there was a wind there that day, which pushed the fire even harder. All right. But the reason we show that film, again, is not to scare you, but when we get a call in the city for a fire, you can anticipate it's going to take anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes for us to get that first fire rig on the scene, and probably 5 minutes for us to be able to start putting water. That's just an average throughout the city. Some places it's going to be faster, some places it's going to be slower. So by the time we got to that 4 or 5 minute mark in the video, we had 3 houses already involved. Right, 3 houses involved in a fire in Provo City. We've got a wonderful fire department. Taps us out. We are already past our capacity, and the time it's going to take us to bring Springville or Orem or other units from throughout the county in, it's going to take time. So that fire would tap out the entire county just because of the resources that are available. So the question is it better to prevent that fire from getting to that point? Or is it better to try and manage that fire once it gets to that point? And I'm a big fan of fences on the cliff, not ambulances as well. So that's why I want you to look at your own individual home. Take a look at it and see what you can do. Watershed, this is our bragging point. We brag on this all the time. This is a fire that happened in Provo last August. This is up on 1550 East, just south of Rock Canyon, the Rock Canyon Trailhead Park. What happened is there was some kind of an electrical surge. Still don't know exactly how that happened, but it started a grass fire underneath the left-hand power poles. All right. Every summer we hire a wildland fuel mitigation crew that goes out and does fuel mitigation for us. And one of their responsibilities is to go along the Bonneville Shoreline Trail and cut down the grass 4 or 5 feet on each side of the trail once it dries out. So it again kind of creates a fire break. So we have this fire happen a week or 2 weeks before is when they had cut the grass down, and this fire happened and it hit the fire break that they had created by cutting down that grass, and it stopped that fire cold on about a 2-inch fire. Okay? So this is, we call it the $1 million fire. It's actually probably a multiple $1 million fire because had that got to the other side of the trail, it would have run the mountain. And then now you're talking about bringing in air resources and a longer term firefight. So defensible space does work. We proved it here in Provo last year with our program. Get me again. So what we do is we help citizens who are, right now we're targeting our wildland urban interface, but we can also help you with education. What we do is we go out into the interface, we work with neighborhoods, we help them. We actually have a couple of people who go out and do a home assessment, actually come to your home, tell you what places you need to work. And if you qualify as one of our targeted places, we'll have you do the work. We can't do the work for you. We'll have you do the work, cut the brush, and then drag it out to the street, and then we'll come through and ship it and take it down to the compost yard and dispose of it. And like I said, we have a crew that runs from May to the end of August. Hit me again. We have had very good success in the neighborhoods that we've been working with, where folks have come out and they've laid out stacks of stuff like this, and our fuel crew can go out there and in about 4 hours can take care of all of that and get it hauled off. So it's good for us. We recycle the natural materials. It's good for our community because it reduces the fire risk, and it's good for our citizens because it makes your home a safer place. Hit me again. She put this in. Why did she put this in? Oh,
if you want to get alerts,
yeah,
just emergency.
Utah County. You can go to Utah County. Yeah, alerts.utahcounty.gov and sign up for it. This was really handy when we were watching flood information this last summer. That's why she put this in. All right. If you have any questions about our Wildland Urban Interface Program, Captain Jeannie Atherton is the superstar on this one. She can help you. Her card and her information are on the back. And I will entertain any questions you have until they tell me to sit down and shut up.
So I kind of do water-wise in my house, but a lot of it, it's not going to be bad for fire.
Waterway?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
no, okay, just trees, or like, what do you want to make sure it's there?
Again, as you have things, living vegetation becomes dead vegetation.
This is a
Yeah, yeah, clean it up, get rid of it. Vegetation, dead vegetation, all that stuff. Somebody came up with a really creative word of stuff. And, you know, as we have years and years where we get tall grass that doesn't work, it creates this layer of dust, a little. So if you can get that cleaned up, and then again, create a little up. Good question. I'm a big fan of waterways. We do actually live in that. So. All right, thank you.
Okay, we've got, Bryce Rolph, who's gonna talk to us a little bit about recycling.
So normally I tag team this with Anna from our sustainability department, but just talk about recycling. What we're trying to do is let everybody get the word out on what is recyclable, what is not recyclable. The more that we can lower our contamination rate, the more cost effective recycling is. Right now, in our last study that we did, we're about 25%. We've been as high as 42% in contamination. Everything that we take in on recycle right now, we pay $140 per ton for recycling. We pay $36 for trash, $38 for trash, but we pay $140 per ton for anything that we recycle. So if we're at 25 or 42%, that means we're paying, you know, at 42%, that is all trash that should be getting disposed of at $36 a ton, not at $140. So the lower we bring that down, even at 25%, that's a quarter of that $140 a ton that we're paying that we don't need. So a little bit about what is recyclable. This is the standard that we go off of. It's throughout the state of Utah. All of the cities participate in this. It's put out not only by the Utah Recycling Coalition, but all of the actual recycling facilities. So these this is pretty good standard here. What they like to see is cardboard, paper, aluminum cans, steel cans, and plastic containers. You'll see this as top 6 in the bin, super 6, top 10 in the bin. It's the same thing, it's the same items, whether they have a different name or whatever the lingo that they're in. Can you go to?
One thing,
Sure.
those food boxes need to be cleaned, like a pizza box, like oil.
So pizza boxes are trash. Pizza boxes, because they have the oils in them,
Oil.
they're trash. That's just, if you have, some people, the pizza boxes now, a lot of the time they'll come perforated, so you can pull off the sides and stuff like that. The parts that don't have any oil on them are recyclable. Any of the parts that have oil on them, they're trash. So cardboard. And I'll just go through really fast what these 6 are. Corrugated fiberboard cardboard boxes. That's your Amazon boxes, your consumer packages, moving boxes, paper towel rolls, and picture frame backing, that cardboard backing on picture frames. It can have glossy enamel on it. It can have tape on it. They don't have to have all the tape pulled off. You don't have to have all the labels pulled off. They can they are able to go through this. You know, I've had questions from people, what about staples in them? They can take care of that. This all gets ground up in a big machine, then it gets floated through a pulp mill, and they'll just take any of the metal, any of the parts that, you know, anything else they'll take out. What they can't handle is any oils or anything like that, that floats on that water. And when they try and bind that pulp, it prevents the pulp from binding. Next one, paper. Newspaper, magazines, junk mail, notebooks, office paper, paper bags, packaging paper. That stuff that comes in your Amazon package. Again, I get questions, the credit cards that come in your mail, the windows, notebook rings, do I need to take the rings out? You know, the spiral notebooks, all of that is they can take that and they will sort through that. What they can't take is they can't take, you know, a bunch of plastic in there. If you have, you know, your standard magazines and stuff like that, they can take. Paper board. You're asking about how good it has to be. So this is your paper board is your food boxes, your shoe boxes, egg cartons, small consumer boxes, toothpaste boxes, medicine boxes, tissue boxes. Not the tissues, but the tissue boxes, right? Those are all made of what's called fiber board or paper board. It's essentially what cardboard becomes when it gets recycled. It's that, all of that stuff, that pulp that's ground up, it's made into a paste and then dried out, and this becomes paper. This is all recyclable. Metal cans, aluminum cans like drink cans, tin cans, food cans, self-storage cans, pet food cans, all of them are recyclable. We do ask you to clean them out, but it doesn't have to be scrubbing it down. If you wash it out, it should be good. Soda pop cans really don't even have to be washing those out. The biggest thing is trying to get oils out, then those oils get into the cardboard, and that affects the cardboard. Plastic number one. So there's a lot of confusion on what plastics are acceptable. So there's two plastics that are acceptable, 1 and 2. So plastic number 1 is PETE. It's soft drink bottles, water bottles, your juice containers, your cooking oil containers without the oil in it. It's your food jars, your aspirin bottles, not like the brown prescription bottles. Those are a different type of plastic. This is your standard plastic aspirin bottle that's kind of, you know, it's kind of filed. Generally speaking, with recyclable plastic, we say anything that has a screw-on lid. If it doesn't have a screw-on lid, it's probably a plastic that's not recyclable. Plastic number two, HDPE, milk jugs, shampoo bottles, bleach bottles, cleaning product containers, detergent bottles, fabric softeners. These are your colored, you know, your big colored containers, right? Again, they have a screw-on lid. Question about how clean those have to be. They don't really have to be that clean. As long as you make sure they're empty, they don't want to pour it full, but there's a little bit of residual in there. It's not an oil, and it's not gonna affect the end material. It's not gonna affect the cardboard because of it's clean. Yeah.
I have a question about the lids for those. They often feel like they're different kind of plastic.
Yeah, so they are a different kind of plastic. Most of the time they ask you to take time to remove them. At the same time, they can sort through a lot of those. Lately, with soda pop bottles, there used to be a question on do you take the lids off? Nowadays, they just say leave the lids on and they'll sort them out. So what cannot be recycled? Okay, glass, napkins or tissues that are used, your filters, batteries, plastic bags, food waste, ceramics, styrofoam, diapers, food wrappers, clothing items. We get these all the time. Big electrical items. Let me go to the next one. So plastic bags, trash bags, grocery bags, shopping bags, compostable bags. This is the #1 biggest reason for contamination. So not the plastic bags, not these plastic bags as much. That becomes an issue because it gets in the wheels and the cogs at the MRF, the material recovery facility, and it gets in there and it gets in their gears, and then they have to cut that out. That's a problem in and of itself. Those plastic bags can be taken to almost all grocery stores have a recycling bin. They just get bound up, they get put in a big pallet of them, and they'll take them straight to the recycling center. They don't go over the conveyor belt. The biggest problem are trash bags. Even if they're clear, whether they're clear or they're white, the problem is they can't always identify what's in there. And because they can't identify what's in there, they're just going to take the whole bag and throw it in the garbage. So every time we put anything in a bag and put it in the recycling bin, it is 100% of the time being thrown out. The reason, if you can imagine, this bag right here comes across the conveyor belt. There's guys sorting out a conveyor belt. As it comes by, they go and rip it open and find out that it's filled with spaghetti sauce, right? Now you have all of that conveyor belt that's coming back around every 5 seconds filled with spaghetti sauce. And now it's contaminated everything around them. They're gonna have to stop it, shut down their line, and clean that off. So they won't even open. So they just throw it out. That's the #1 cause of contamination of it. Anything in the plastic. Glass bottles, pasta jars, oil jars, drink bottles, window glass, window panes. Problem with glass. First off, we do have a wonderful glass program in our city. There's a glass recycling bin by the Smiths in the Smiths parking lot. It's there for you guys to drop off glass. We take it up to Momentum Recycling. You get it recycled whenever it's filled. It's getting more and more filled. It used to go out every 2 months. Now it's down to every other week. So we on Wednesdays, exactly, every other Wednesday. So
What happens with that? What do they do?
they have a big chipper up there. They take it and make it into like powder, and then it goes to Owens Corning, or it goes to they take the colored glass, they'll sort through some of that and give it to there's some glass like manufacturing locations that they'll get the colored glass to. But it does get recycled. Most of it goes into Owens Corning fiberglass.
You need to take the lids off the glass bottle.
Sorry, what's that?
You need to take the lids off of the glass bottle.
I just actually got a text about going out there and removing this lid. Are you talking about the ones that are covering up the circle or the big lids themselves?
Oh, no, yeah, I did
The container.
the little glass container.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes. Sorry, I thought you were talking about, we just hauled it, Wednesday, and we left the covers on it, that we had to cover it up when we haul it. And I just got a call when I was sitting there asking me to go over and take the covers off, and I thought that's what you thought. No, you do have to take the lids off, yes. They can't take the lids, they can't take cardboard boxes, they can't take bags in there. They get really frustrated if there's cardboard boxes, because all they do is scoop it up with a big front loader and go dump it in their machine. And then they're calling us up and yelling at us because there's a cardboard box in there that got in the machine. So yeah, it does happen. Just people ask, no lids on there. No cardboard boxes, no paper bags. No paper, or sorry, no glass frames at that facility either. It has to just be bottles. We leave an opening about this big so that it's just bottles. We used to have people put big frames in there with the aluminum. We can't take that. Plastics 3 through 7. Oh, the reason glass, real fast, the reason glass is such an issue is in the truck there's a big compactor that compacts it and it shatters anything that's in it. So the glass just shatters when it gets compacted. And now you have all of those shards of glass embedding themselves in everything around it. So you can imagine that guy on that conveyor belt again, that cardboard box now coming by him has all of those shards of glass sticking out of it, or the plastic that got embedded in there. Now he's trying to sort through that stuff with all of that glass. So that's why that does not go to go in the recycling. Plastics 3 through 7. So plastic 3, PVC, that's PVC pipe, right? It doesn't get recycled. Plastic 4 is your LDPE. That's the classic squeeze bottles that you see at diners and stuff like that. It's not your standard ketchup bottle that you get now in the store. If you notice when you squeeze those, after a time they start to separate. That's plastic 1. So those are usually actually recyclable. The old school plastics, diner, I guess if you want to call them that, ketchup, mustard containers, those are not recycled. That's plastic 4. That's like toothpaste. My wife does the Bed Bath & Beyond, or the lotion from the mall. Yeah, maybe. Those tubes, that's plastic number 4. That's not recycled. It just goes in the garbage. Plastic 5, PP or polypropylene. This is the one that most people think is recyclable. It is not. That's your yogurt containers, Cool Whip containers, margarine containers. That's the stuff. Most people are like, yeah, this is recyclable. It's not. Not because it's not possible to recycle, because there's not a market for it. So all of the recycling industry is market driven, right? They have to be able to sell the product. If there's nobody willing to buy their product, then they won't recycle. 1 and 2 have great markets. They actually pay really well, pay better than cardboard right now. Plastic number 4 has no market. It's trash. So they're going to throw it in the trash. Instead of paying the $140 a ton, we have to get pulled out.
That yogurt,
Yeah, yogurt, cottage cheese, those containers. Plastic 6, styrofoam. Styrofoam is not recyclable. That's another one of the major contaminating issues that we have. People get shipping containers with a bunch of styrofoam in there and they just toss the whole thing in the recycle bin. We can't take the styrofoam. It has to go in the trash. And then plastics 7, that's just everything else. That's your acrylics, your nylons. That's, the frame of the fan at your house, that really tough plastic. That's that's probably an acrylic. Those are not recyclable. That's in trash. Shredded paper. Shredded paper is recyclable. There is a place at the transfer station you can take it to. They have a little shed down there. You can take it to the transfer station. Reason it can't go on the conveyor belt. Same issue that we have with everything else. It just gets everywhere. There's a bunch of rollers. There's a bunch of moving parts. There's big computers, so they're trying to read the material that comes through. This clogs up, gets it in the cogs and the machine, and it just goes everywhere. It goes up the conveyor. It also falls through the rollers and just makes a mess. So Shredded paper is recyclable, just not in the recycling bin. Is that the last one?
Yep, that's the last one.
Okay. Any questions?
How's the market for the recycling? A few years back, I heard the market fell out and then
So the reason we're paying $140 a ton is because the market has not recovered like it used to. And so we are paying, we're paying for it, right? It used to be 7 years ago. We actually made money from it. Now we're paying for it. Is it all getting recycled? Yes. Is it costing? Yes. Personally, I have a blue bin and I look at it. I have a blue bin and all of my light material, right? Most of the stuff I recycle is light material that's broken. The big boxes, the big detergent bottles, big, softener bottles. It's stuff that would make my black bin overfill. And so for me, and I live there in town too. For me, it's, it's something that I see as, sustainable because I'm able to not have to have a second black bin that would cost me, twice the price of a blue bin. And the reason that blue bins are cheaper, even though it's more expensive per ton, is because that material is really light versus the trash.
quick follow-up. I'm curious, like, where does it end up, right?
So
If someone's not buying the big
Yeah.
recyclable bin, where is
So- there used to be a huge market in China. That's dried up, moved to Malaysia and Indonesia, Vietnam. There also is a big movement right now to rebuild some of that infrastructure in the United States. There is a use for everything. So right now, the last time I saw, HDPE was $1,200 a ton is what they were producing. That's huge. They pay a lot of money for it. Cardboard, which used to be the #1 biggest moneymaker, is down to like $114. Cardboard is incredibly recyclable. There's local facilities that take that. It's the HDPE and PETE that is really market specific. But even those, as they rebuild some of that industry in the United States, it's growing. So there is a growing market. It's just not as market rich right now as we'd like. The other problem is 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 20 cities were doing it. Now everybody does it, right? Right. So it's not like, when originally everyone's like, yeah, this is great because we make money from it. Well, now everybody's doing it. There's a lot more product going in the same stream. That's why the reason the price up.
So you're saying the majority of our recyclables being shipped across the ocean, be processed?
At least HDPE and PET.
What percentage?
And those are, I remember from the slides we had before, I think it's in the area of 7 or 8 of the recyclable material. By far, like 50% of everything that's in those bins is cardboard. And that's local. Most of that is either going to Pacific Pulp in Phoenix, or it's going to McKinley Paper and Pruitt in Mexico. Those are the two big recycling facilities for paper around in this area. There was talk a couple years ago about building one here in Salt Lake, Utah County area. I haven't seen any movement on that. That would make it even better locally. And so it's just the plastics that are going over there. And they're going over there to be using products that are essentially coming back. Any other questions?
Okay. We're running a little behind, but I do think it's important that we get any public comments, questions, concerns. anybody have anything they want to bring up or talk about? Everyone, so, my name is Tanner Bennett. I live on 620 North, just south of BYU campus. I'm one of the people that's running for Provo City Council, but I'm not here, in that capacity. I'm actually here because right now my campaign's running a hygiene drive for the Food and Care Coalition. They've completely run out of hygiene products, but so far we've been able to supply them with right around 500 or 600 pounds of products, to help them tie over. But prior to about 2 weeks ago on Friday, we found out that they were completely out of shampoo, conditioner, razors, deodorants. They're fine, from what I understand, on feminine hygiene products, but for just those basic hygiene necessities that they give out, homeless care kits, and as well for providing showers for people that come into Food and Care Coalition. I have papers in the back that are flyers of materials they need. If you'd be willing to donate, you can always reach out to me and I'm happy to come collect them, or you're welcome to take them down over there to Scholar. I've also created a donation link that goes to an Amazon wish list that sends to me, and then I go and donate all of those to Food and Care Coalition. So just to make you aware of some needs in our community, I'm running this donation for about another week or so, and then I'll be pivoting to a food drive for Community Action Services and Food Bank has also been running low on food. So if you have food, if you have hygiene products, we'll take them all. And hopefully we can get some help for some of these really great services and community partners we have here in Provo.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a preferred size for these things, like travel size?
They prefer large. So I actually, on my Amazon wish list, someone was really generous and sent to me 1,000 travel shampoos, 1,000 toothbrushes, 1,000 razors, 1,000, I mean, of everything that I asked for, which has been an incredible blessing. But now they're really focused on large size lotions, conditioners, soap, shampoo bottles, and they are more than grateful for those donations. Great question. Anybody else? Cool. I'm going to turn it over really quick to Rachel to talk about the service project.
Okay, so YServe is an organization at BYU. They do lots of service. One of their service groups is called Community Clean-Up. There's a new guy in charge of the Community Clean-Up. He's looking for ideas for cleaning up the community. So if you see an area in District 5 that you feel needs to be cleaned up, it could be someone's yard, it could be a street, a trail, anything that you think could be cleaned up, please contact your neighborhood board. We'd like to make a wish list. We're going to create a list of all types of different service projects, give it to the YServe Community Clean-Up, and then they can go through and let us know which projects they're interested in. We can do a service project around that, have a bunch of BYU students help us, and those service hours will go towards matching grants in your area. So it'd be really great. So if you see something, write it down, let us know so we can add it to our wish list.
Speaking of matching grants, so we are looking for ideas on how to use those funds. And correct me if I'm wrong. So matching grants is where our service hours, like Rachel was saying, turn into money. Right now we have up to $5,000 that can go towards improving and beautifying our neighborhoods. And we just wanted to see if anybody has any ideas on what we can do. The sidewalk on the south side of 620 North, which would be 800 east and 900 east, on the south side of the street is just completely deteriorated. And so, I mean, pushing strollers, walking, wheelchairs. I had my wife in a wheelchair for a while, needed to push her. Couldn't use that side of the sidewalk. It's just completely dissolved. So I think that would be that's a potential. I think that's awesome.
In our Timp neighborhood, and I'm sure it's similar in many other downtown neighborhoods, but our street trees, many of them need pruning, trimming. especially along 500 North, by the rec center on the south side of the street. There are some trees that need to be replaced. In Timp's neighborhood, we've done tree plantings almost every year. But using this YServe group, last year we had a YServe group that came, and there were like 50 to 75 of them. We didn't have enough shovels to utilize all of them. So if we could, that's something that I would like to see happen in our cleanup of the street trees and also.
So I would say, I don't know that we would be allowed to clean up the street trees ourselves. I think that no power we want to do the trimming and things like that. You can certainly report that with pictures to 311, just have them take care of the damaged tree that way. But once they've got it cleaned up, we absolutely can't organize to plant the woods.
So this is the problem. From what I understand, they only have two guys who can cut down the trees for the entire city of Provo.
So you can hear contractors sometimes, and there's actually they're going to do it now.
But we have trees in our neighborhood that have been on the list for years. And I mean, these are trees that are dropping huge limbs. They're on the city side of the street. In the most rich.
Yeah, we'll start reporting.
Okay, great. I mean, it's literally, and personal conversations with them, going in.
Okay, I just want to say, going with your, I think, Hannah Salzl, who is going to present tonight, she's going to present at your next meeting. One of the projects she works on is the 1,000 trees project, where they come and they give you the trees. They just ask for labor to help plant them. And so she's a good one that kind of get your tree ideas for her for the next meeting. And maybe we'll see if we can get the arborist.
Last year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if this is possible, but since I was here, I was thinking about safer walks to school, like having the YServe people help paint zebras, sidewalks, and the just find those places and then tag school district and make them safer with a bunch of volunteers. So it would probably be great. Yeah. The sidewalks.
A great idea. Anybody else? Yeah.
Just piggybacking off the tree thing, we could just do like an audit of the neighborhood. Have a list of all the trees that need this, right?
Because we've got
So-
some on Center Street on the east side that are here.
Right, so like rather than like we report a few here and there, like we all just walk around and do all that. So the city has an idea.
So like come next time with maybe pictures and.
Well, just organize the,
Okay, do
just
a
an
Google Doc.
audit of the idea.
We did that with everyone, so we did Google Docs to everyone, then, documented their walks, all their photos and location, and Google Docs of the problems. Then we'd have, like, we would be able then to find out the problem. If people from each of the neighborhoods was willing to do the walks and stuff. I know we sometimes are, Joaquin, when we're feeling motivated to do stuff like that.
The GIS or Geographic Information System School at BYU are always looking for projects that they can do to document things like that. So we're wanting to do a tree audit. They actually have geographic software that they can go stand under the tree and mark it. And then they can put comments and anything on there. They could probably actually would be really interested in doing that. So we could reach out to we could reach out to their professor. I think their director is last name is Jackson, and I think that they would probably be willing to take that up. I think just this is one of my thoughts coming back to the what was it? It was the Wildland Urban Interface Program. I wonder if it would be interested to do it in conjunction with the fire department, because I imagine that some of those trees fall into that, what he was talking about, that they're a fire risk. And so I wonder if we could we got a connection with them, so awesome, thank you. Any other ideas, thoughts?
In discussing this, one of the questions that come up, do we want to try to do yearly projects that that go across all of our neighborhoods? That the whole program is not, there was enough money that each neighborhood could get up to $5,000. Most people don't even apply, but the point is that some of these projects can get that 5,000 quick, and some of them at least could be like just in one area that would benefit a neighborhood or half the neighborhood kind of thing. And so, do we want to like not do any of those projects, movie projects, very possible thing? Do we want to do these specific projects and then we just do a rotation? How do you prioritize that, or you just? So anyway, so I think that might be worth talking about. Might also be helpful to talk about what past matching grant projects were. People from several different neighborhoods. Like, so what are some things that we've done in the past that might help us with what we're doing in the future? I've been a part of tree plantings, house paintings. Also, we had some sidewalk that was torn up. And we did that where we did a lot of it just kind of clean up, matching hours, but we also got sledgehammers and broke up remnants and removed it, and then the city with contractors came and was actually poured the cement. So that's what Dixon has done in the past. Various other neighborhoods.
Maeser, if you go to Maeser Park, you'll see that massive, that has been 2 different times, 20 years, or 10, 15 to 20 in the park has been completely changed. The second time, the first time, and falling down to where you did all of this. That requirement has been not.
I think we've identified the problem of being 5 rather than having the neighborhood representation, because I feel like it's like spread out now, and the needs, it's a lot harder to really focus on the needs of each state, that's how it's structured now. So like it's a great question. It probably is best to be listening to focus on the neediest, prioritizing, but then you're like, and generally, yeah, it's complicated.
I do think that just the $5,000 grant is almost rendered useless if we are determined to spread it throughout each neighborhood every year.
Yeah.
So I think that's one issue for sure. Taking projects.
I think the tree clear.
Yeah, you can do it. Sure.
$5,000 trees.
The trees are often
But yeah,
the trees are free. Through the 1,000 tree program.
Yeah.
Which actually means that we could then do like a $5,000 spot project as well as tree planting can be possibly matching hours.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, I think the idea, like, have a standing project, wide, you have 2 trees, and we come up with the top priority one from a list that we generate. Right?
But one thought might be, what we don't want to do is what we did last year. Now it was a short year and we didn't keep up and running, but we didn't apply for a project. There wasn't, I mean, there's, but as a member of the board, put that on top of it a little bit more. So possibly one idea would be to kind of have a list and have neighborhoods put in ideas that goes on the list. And then, if say, I'll say Dixon's where I'm from, say, Dixon puts in one and we do it in year 2 or something. And then we put another one on the list. Maybe we end up doing it in year 5 because other neighborhoods just never got around to putting their on the list. So it just kind of helped motivate us to get them on the list. But you still spread them out, kind of take turns on the list. If someone, if they can't think of a project, then, just take over.
How much is one sidewalk? Like,
A length.
the length of 1 million.
Yeah.
I meant like just the one second.
One block.
Just $1 million, it's like $1
Yeah.
million.
It's $100,000 per quarter.
You know, like one block, one city block.
I meant west side, so like 250,000. For just was like $1 million and
So block faces is one side of a.
yeah, block, thank you guys.
Block face. Versus a block with
Yeah.
4 blocks.
So,
Yeah.
That looks like Rossville bucket, it's sidewalk, but I'm here in the city, it's sidewalk, you know,
Yeah.
it's another $5,000 for it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just trying to, well, that's a CBD.
The other thought. Just gonna throw it out there and not say, I promise you anything, but if we have really productive, really helpful, really top quality projects, that really are impactful. At various times in my involvement, I've heard the council talk about, being willing to give more money. So if we can,
Where is it?
yeah, I mean, if we're showing some great value to the city and residents, I think sometimes this council would be open to that. Again, I mentioned this last time, we always point out that we actually have twice the number of residents in District 5 and other districts. So maybe that's just.
And just people are in the outdoors.
But if we let years go by and we don't even apply for it, it's really hard to. We can't meet our gates that it more is justified.
so one of my ideas for using the block grant money, thinking about areas where it benefits everybody. Like most people come in along Center Street, right? Clean up, beautifying Center Street, or around the rec center, or on our schools, or we keep on talking about safe streets, right? Using money for, and if we can get the city to go along with this for making creative sidewalks or creative crosswalks where people notice the sidewalk, like the zebra sidewalk.
Zebra stripes, but my
Or the ducks
I
going across
told
the
my
sidewalk.
friends who design streets for Chicago, who's the award-winning science. And I asked him if that is right, and murals do not make it safer than crosswalks. So you have to you need other things to make crosswalks safer. Make it safer. Like zebra stripes actually have different to be safer, but ducks are beautiful things. Actually, don't. They just make it a great placemaking spot. So if you want a placemaking spot, that's great. But it makes it, yeah. Anyway, super nerdy. I spent so many hours reading studies, and I made sure I was still right 5 years later, and it's still the same result.
So then we consult with you on what we use for those.
But I'm all about making all of our kids are walking the streets and students, and for everyone's outside. When I run, that's where I see people outside. I don't see people outside on the other neighborhoods when I'm running usually. Sometimes it's exciting then.
The Safe Routes to School, there's a state program for that, and that's, these are great ideas. We need to leverage our resources where we can. Talk with your school's community council. They're in charge of the Safe Routes to School, and the state legislature sets aside money every year, and so if we can get it through the sometimes laborious process, we think we can get those things on the funding list, working with the school, also working with the city. That's all in place. But if we see needs that aren't being met, sometimes it's just as simple as the community council is aware that that is a problem, and so letting them know. I mean, it's great to advocate. I'll do that, but it's a process in place that's the money's already out there, so it should be.
And in some of our, elementary schools, I think that there's some community councils that are more robust than others, and so it's super nice because, the schools
designate what the safe routes are, and it's submitted, and then so, depending on, there may be, you know, Franklin, Timpanogos, you know, Purple Peaks. There are, I know Timpanogos and Purple Peaks. Right, so if we're talking about that stuff, you know, I think, and then those that are doing a safe route, don't necessarily aren't walking. Right, isn't it? Just giving them a radar that's helpful.
Not to the same one in Vermont. I was just curious if there's any possibility to get maybe to purchase shares into the solar farm. If we can't, I mean, find any purchasing shares from the solar farm, electrifying, I don't know, some part of Center or Main Street downtown, whatever, that would be able to, because the solar farm is cool because it sets rates so they don't fluctuate when power is more expensive or less expensive. It's a flat rate. But then it's been really effective for other parts of the city. I don't know if that's that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Would be nice to focus on, if all district five, to focus on the lighting. I know we don't have the greatest street lit, right? Is that like, that's probably made $1.5 billion.
Thank you. If I want to encourage, if anybody has any other ideas, but please be talking to your neighbors and to your friends and family that are in the area. If any ideas come up, you just have to communicate them, because if you never hear about it, kind of like what Dave said, if you never hear about it, there's not much. So if you do have any ideas, please reach out to your representative or whoever you know to reach out and tell them about your ideas. Yes.
So moving forward, like if there are ideas and will that become an agenda item where then we can say, okay, how we're going to prioritize it, or this is prioritizing, this is how we're going to go forward with the project, like what's the next action?
Okay. So any resident of District 5 can apply for a matching grant.
Okay.
The application's online, so all of you can apply for a matching grant. Those applications will then go to the board members and they'll decide which one they want to do. So any of you, and then that way, if they don't decide yours, you've already got it written for next year. And so, but it is kind of a grueling process, filling out this application and getting, exactly what the quotes are. If you're working on private property or having to deal with like public works or engineering like that. So I would advise anyone can do an application, do as many as you can, and then it's up to the board to decide which one they're going to pick. And you want to make sure that you have all of your hours, your matching hours, your volunteer hours, and any kind of in-kind donations or that. You're going to want to get going on that. I think the due date is May 1st, because the project has to be completed and all the money given out by June 30th. So you're going to want to get on as soon as possible, but anyone can apply.
Okay, I want to get to this before we have Provo Library, the outreach program, talk to us. We historically have a low voter engagement in our district, and we want to change that. And I wanted to get the board and I wanted to get some ideas from you guys on how we can increase voter engagement, get our neighbors out and voting this time around. So do you have any ideas that wants to go out there? Be a squeaky wheel, but this is literally something that I'm working on actively for the campaign. One of the biggest successes or conversions that I've been able to see is that people just don't know, especially students in Joaquin, they don't understand that being in Utah for 30 days qualifies you to register to vote. And so most of them think that they are not qualified to vote in Provo or vote in Utah at all. So what we've been doing with quite a bit of success is going door to door. I have a link on from my Instagram and other places where I send them to, that they can fill out the paperwork, send it on to, the county, and then just that understanding that they can vote for it as long as they live here for 30 days is a huge, and a bit of enlightenment for our people.
Kind of cue it up a little bit, I don't know if I be really brief, but, so I sit on this council. And one thing that surprised me, is, for example, when we were talking about how do we run a campaign to encourage people, to vote on the, and in the strategic planning of, okay, where are we going to put our resources? Where are we going to put the door knockers, the dealers? I say, oh, well, I can talk to my neighborhood. Like, oh, don't waste your time. People won't go there. You need to go to other places in the city where higher voter turnout, and you're only going to spend 12 hours doing that. Put your 12 hours where it's going to make a difference. And there's, I haven't seen people say like, oh, well, we don't really care about the part of town, so we're not going to vote against the future. But there is, I've been in conversations with these political calculations of, if I make this part of town really upset, I may not win re-election, where there's not necessarily that fear of upsetting people in our district, neighborhood district. So I think perhaps the best thing we can do as a neighborhood district is to increase voter engagement, increase voter turnout, and increase the informed voters. Help and encourage people to be voters and turn that up. So just some interest of time, some ideas is, going door to door, just knocking on doors, having a paper, voter registration sheet, and just saying, hey, are you registered?
Yeah, my idea would be to do that maybe like the farmer's market, have like a little booth, and even have like a little QR code if you just use register, as well as like paper handouts as well. Maybe even like banners, so sure she usually be a place like near the schools or stuff like that with like a QR code. So I know like nowadays like people are pretty tech savvy to where a little QR would be really efficient. I don't know how the state requires you to fill out a paper. But if they're from Utah and have Utah residents.
When I was knocking doors doing this years ago, they're trying to increase, it took a little more time, but they filled it out and handed it to me. I knew that was going in, and so on my phone, I'll scan the QR code and I'll shut the door. I was hopeful that a lot of those got through in, but I never knew. But yeah, I love the poster idea. And then the one other that I was going to throw out, so like door to door, and that's easy to do. I mean, it's hard to hit everything, but it's something that's easy. Anyone who's willing to spend 2 hours here, 2 hours there, and make a difference. And so if all of us talk to some people and get a few more people and we go out, we can make it. Another idea, whether at a neighborhood level or a district level, we could have a festival. We could have a gathering, something that brings people in for fun, but then like, hey, the reason we're here tonight is we need you to register. If you're not registered, we need you to vote. And we need you to, here are our resources so that you can see who the candidates are, what they stand for, so you can be an informed voter. The one thing that elections, the primaries were originally on August 15th, and the generals on the 7th of November. Fortunately for us, with how late this is, that got pushed back, so it's now September 5th and November 21st. So we have basically 1 month. So there's really not a lot of time to plan. So maybe the door to door is a better idea, but Any motion to talk, and I would like to post right now.
Longer than the general, I mean, obviously.
On to the general.
This is, I almost wonder if, like I know we have some marketing talent in our midst. But I'm like, would this be an opportunity actually for the matching grant? Like it's very much within, like it feels like you could actually possibly do a lot with $5,000. I know, as like if you took it sort of seriously and like launch a strategic marketing campaign.
500,000 pieces.
I mean, I wonder a little bit about it, because people still have to like show up, but I'm like, could it be promoted? I myself, I work in design, but I work more in software. Like I have done marketing stuff. I'm not like a strategic marketing person, but I'm like, maybe it's time. Yeah. But I'm like,
Is that lawn signs, and someone here, you think that be effective? Would you be moved for the lawn
I
sign?
like,
downtown vote.
but like, even
You have to do the slogan about.
like Facebook and like you can run very affordable social media ads. I've done social media things before just for like soft launches on software. I think it's like so scary. It's like very easy to target people. Just a thought, it may be a good opportunity to that. It seems like you could actually make that $5,000.
So the matching grant, it specifically says it has to be used for something physical that lasts.
It does.
So it can't just be like a party. It has to be something physical in your neighborhood that's permanent, not,
Okay.
yeah. But you do have those $1,000 budget that you can use for social events or stuff like that, kind of community gathering.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of like getting the neighbors together and talk about the elections. Can we have like the candidates with these there? Cause I mean, like a town hall sort of thing. Cause I mean, I know people don't, oh, voting, yay, but oh, this guy versus that guy, like, or gal versus that guy. Like that's kind of what people thinking. So I think that if we can incorporate that, that would probably help. That's
You have a,
Which one is planning a council town hall, so there'll be meetings, like, meetings, there'll be a.
We're having the Q&A with the existing city council members at the next meeting. As far as like a meet the candidates night, it has to come from the neighborhood. I can't suggest it.
So maybe.
Before the pandemic, the Franklin neighborhood used to host a meet the candidates night picnic. You bring food to share, the candidates show up, you go find out which candidate. People actually showed up, so.
Could we do that?
But let's be realistic. Whole majority of District 5 is only going to be voting for a citywide candidate. The west side of Franklin neighborhood is also going to be voting for the new west side city council. So we will have 10 candidates, or what, I don't know how many people actually signed up for citywide. Is it 10? It was a lot.
7. Yep.
So maybe that's the next question. Good time. Is this, if we did an event, is it not enough time to do that between now and September 5th?
There's time because ballots don't get sent out till 3 weeks before the election.
Leave the period leads till the 22nd. 22nd of August.
Yeah. Your border park would be a good reason.
Yeah.
So we need to schedule that with the city. I imagine there's a fee. Waiver, we put our $1,000 budget.
From what I understood, being the former neighborhood chair, you are not allowed to reserve that particular pavilion. It's the only one in the city you're not allowed to reserve.
Oh.
You just first come first served. You show up and you claim your space.
Oh, if anyone's there, they not part.
Yes.
Even better.
Is that something that we're interested in doing?
I would love to go candidates in the hot dog project with you guys like that. That doesn't look great.
I love the idea. I'm all for
Maybe on
that.
social media. where it's really fun.
Yeah, we're gonna pick the date. Then both candidates can look at that date.
Right.
It's in their interest to do that.
Okay.
If we schedule something for the end of August, I have something in the realm of about 1,000-ish people that are on my social media that you know. So
So what date are you thinking, possible for August 22nd then?
I think we can figure out those details. We can figure out those details later. Well, later is in the next couple of days. But I want to make sure that the library,
I just suggest maybe just asking if people are generally supportive of this idea, to raise their hands.
yeah, absolutely. So if you're in support, raise your hand. If you aren't in support. Good. All right, now we're gonna hear from
This is Mariah.
Mariah, okay.
There's 2 outreach librarians that are not here that you couldn't make it, so you get me today. So there are 2 outreach librarians, I just said that, and our job is to take the library out to the community of Provo. So if you've seen our beautiful library van that we drive around, that's my job, and it's so awesome. We go to preschools and daycares, we do story times there, we also go to the senior center, we go to teen centers, assisted living centers, we go to the farmers market and other community events as well. So what's happening at the library? We just finished up our summer reading program, and we had people log almost 4 million minutes, between all ages, which is really cool. And if you're not using Libby, it's like free Audible. Just do it. It will change your life. At the library, we also have telescopes. You can check out board games. You can check out audio and visual equipment like cameras, GoPros. You can also reserve a time to record a podcast. We have started circulating a neighborhood art center class. You can go to neighborhood art center for free. You can check out binoculars. We also have a whodunit. It's kind of like a food game where you like go around the library and do that. This is all free, by the way. Escape rooms, and you can reserve time to do virtual reality as well. We circulate a bike repair kit. And there's lots of fun things happening in August. So if you look at the calendar, I'll kind of direct some of my favorite things. Direct your attention to my favorites. So tomorrow we have an author event. It's a romance event, and we will have 21 romance authors there. It's going to be incredible. I also love the crochet club. This is underneath programs for adults. Everything I'm telling you about is still open also for registration as of 2 hours ago. There's still spots. Crochet club is really fun. Embroidery club was tonight, so you missed that. But if you catch next month, it's also very fun. A new program that we're starting up is Magic Mornings. You can come play Magic the Gathering if that's your thing. Ages 12 and up. And then for programs for all ages, we have a folk dance class coming up. And then the interactive family movie is going to be High School Musical. They needed staff to help staff that, and I was like, I volunteer. I will do that. Our interactive movies are super fun. If you haven't been. And then programs for kids. During August, we kind of take a break from our usual programming just so that September and forward. So we don't have like our usual story times going on or our usual kids programming, but we do have a special story time next week on the 10th with the mayor, so that will be fun. We also have Teen Academy coming up, and it is Percy Jackson themed. It's for kids ages 9 to 12. It's so much fun. Like you just get to drop them off for 2 hours, and we'll have an absolute blast. And then we have a program coming up in Spanish that's Despedida al Verano. So farewell to summer. And there will be activities and things happening just all in Spanish. And then
oh, I forgot to mention, I brought the van and we can take a tour of the van, which is super cool. And to incentivize you, you can have a free book, your children's books, take one for your kids, your grandkids, your whatever, and stickers. Full disclosure though, I think those doors over there lock. So if you're parked on this side of the building, you might have to get some extras. Okay, what's happening in your neighborhood? We just finished up stories in the park. So throughout the summer, we do a different story time at different parks throughout the city. So normally we have a stories in the park at Franklin Park. So that's what's happening next summer. You can look forward to that if you missed it this summer. And then we really want to set up like a recurring van visit to do mobile checkouts somewhere in your neighborhood district. Most likely like the My Hometown Franklin neighborhood is where we'd like to target. So if you have any ideas for that or anyone who could partner with that, to do that, I would love to hear your ideas. We also have a time set up to go to a new gathering for another district. So if you guys do that, we would love to come. And I feel like there's one more thing I wanted to say. Oh, I was just going to say, we, like I said before, our job is to get the library out to the people of Provo. So if you have any ideas for how we can better do that, we're happy to hear them. Like I said, there are only 2 of us and we are very busy, but we love to be effective with our time. So if there's something we could be doing better, we're happy to hear any suggestions. I have business cards, so yeah. I'm gonna run out and get the van ready to before you can meet me out there and get some fun free stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, before we all head out to the van, I wanted to flex phones and open your calendar and put in the next district meeting, the same meeting, is Thursday, September 14th at 6:30. It's gonna be great because the city council will be there to answer any questions that we have for them. And I really encourage you to invite 2 or 3 other people. If you're gonna come regularly to these, invite your neighbors on either side of you to come with you. Because the more people we can get here and the more info we can get, but then I want to hear from you. And again, if you don't hear from me, there's really not much we can do. So, Rachel, anything else?
No, that's it. If you ever have a community event and you want me to bring the city council neighborhood program booth, we have free stuff. We give out information. We can even like maybe do some photo drive sign up things and just kind of get the word out to your neighborhood. Just ask us. We go to different neighborhoods all the time. So.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Go get another root beer float.
Yes, more root beer floats. And go look at that van.
We'll see you at the end of the month for our big event.
Yeah.